Hi guys, today I'm just going to do a sit down, relaxed chat with you because I don't think I've ever done one of these on my channel. I always recommend books, I always talk about books, and I'm going to talk through my September/autumn TBR with you, but I also want to just keep it real today and have a chat to the camera basically. I know I love watching Simon's A Cuppa and a Catch Up videos. I find them amazing. I just find them so nice to listen to. You just feel like you know someone when you sit down and chat with them, and so that is what I wanted to do today. I wanted to catch you up on everything that's been going on with me, everything I've got coming up, and just get a bit of feedback from you as well, which leads me to my first point, which is that I'm going to be putting together a survey where you can have your say on everything that's coming up on my channel, things you'd like to see, suggestions you have. I try and do one of these every single year, so I think the last time I did one was last June or July, so I haven't done one for a while, and I like to just get your feedback because whilst I love making videos and coming up with content, there's also a lot that you want to see and you might feel a bit nervous about telling me about that, so it's all going to be anonymous, so you can just let me know if you want to see anything, and the link to that will be in the description. Obviously don't be nasty, that will not be nice. Try and keep it as relaxed and cool as possible. I am trying to get videos up that you want to see, but obviously there's been some weird changes on my channel in the past while because I do talk about a lot of classics now, and that is something that's very unexpected. I had been talking about YA for 3 years, I suppose, solidly, just YA. That was the only thing I ever read, and then when I introduced classics into my reading, you all seemed to love it. You all seem to adore it, and so every comment I get now, every Goodreads friend request is like, I love when you talk about classics, which is so lovely, but I want to know if you want to still see classics videos, if it's something you're not interested in. I think you're interested, but I might be wrong. I don't know if you want to still see some YA stuff, or if you want me to put everything in together, or just do separate YA and separate classics videos. Let me know, because I'm a bit confused myself about the direction that my channel is going in, because yeah, it's been an unexpected change. I didn't expect things to go that way at all. I just suddenly started talking about classics and I haven't stopped. So there are a lot of classics videos I've got planned, a lot in October, which you'll see coming soon. I'm gonna have an announcement video for an exciting project I'm doing in October, and next year as well I've got lots of exciting projects on. I'm already starting to think about next year, so there's gonna be lots of classic stuff, but I'd like to kind of know how much YA stuff you want in there. I don't know what you're interested in. Another thing that Simon discussed in his recent Coffee and a Catch Up video was how he felt really burned out over the summer. It's been such a busy summer, and suddenly, for me, I definitely feel this. I feel like I've crashed. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. It's come to the end of summer, I've got a few days left before I start college again, and I've just burnt out completely this summer. It's been crazy. It's been such a busy time between, I went to summer in the city earlier at the end of July maybe, or the start of August. I went to Sitsi, and that was a really amazing time. I was on the booktube panel, which is just one of those once in a lifetime opportunities or something that I've done book events, but I've never done YouTube specific events, and it was really nice to meet lots of you too, and I love that because I do book events and people kind of know me from Twitter or my blog, so I feel like YouTube is a very separate space. So you might not all follow me on Twitter, but I'm sure a lot of people who follow me on Twitter follow me on YouTube, but I don't know if it fully translates, so that's a weird thing as well. So it was really nice to go to a YouTube specific convention, and I love Summer in the City. I've admired it for years, so to get to go was really great. So I had Summer in the City, then that was on the Saturday. On the Monday I had the Times photo shoot. Where is the article? It's down here. So in case you didn't see, I was on the front cover of the Times on Friday, August the 11th. I have a blog post talking about it and how it was such an amazing experience, but yeah, I was on the front. It says meet the Zoella of books, and then just on the front cover of their supplement, which, yeah, that's why I'm so burnt out, because I was on such a high and I've crashed, and it's a massive crash back down to earth and reality. So there was a whole piece in their supplement about booktube with Sana, Jen and Simon. Here I am down here, and it was great. I was talking about classics, so they did choose to focus on different areas of booktube. So I talked about classics, Simon talked about crime, Sana talked about YA, and Jen talked about fine writing. So they did definitely target specific areas for each of us. So I know some people were wondering, like, why didn't you talk about YA? It wasn't my choice. So yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't have written exactly the same things myself, but that's because I see myself in a certain way. I see what I'm doing on BookTube in a certain way, and to have somebody else write about you is really weird. To put all your trust in their hands that they're gonna do you justice. But it was an amazing experience. I loved it. My hair has never been brushed so much. My eyeliner is never gonna look that good again. Yeah, it was just an insane time. So now I crashed back down to earth, and it's not a good crash. It's the kind of crash where it's like, well, what do I do with myself now? So I'm trying not to be as busy, but that is hard when I have a BookTube channel, a blog, emails to answer, you know, everything else. It's hard, but I'm just trying to take some time to myself. I go back to college next week, and that'll be really nice to get back into that routine again. It has just been a really busy summer. As well, I finished my book. I wrote 70,000 words nearly in a month, and that took it out of me as well. And I just passed my driving theory, and I'm trying to take my test in a few months, so it's all going on, and so that is why I've come down and crashed massively. So here are the books that I want to read in September. I don't usually do TBRs, but I thought I would just chuck it into this video and show you what I'm planning on reading in September, because I've done all the catchy up stuff now. So let's talk about some books. I've got kind of a weird mix of books here: 2 poetry books, a non-fiction, and a children's classic. I want to try and read more poetry in the next few months. It's something that I'm really interested in, but I don't feel like I've read enough of it, so I'm trying to read kind of the staple poetry before I move on to some more modern poetry. I kind of want to mix the two up. So the first book that I want to read is Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. I studied Remember by Christina Rossetti at GCSE, and I really liked the sonnet, and so I wanted to read some more of her poetry, so I thought I would start with this. It's just one of the Penguin Little Black classics. I just wanted to give this a go and see if I like her poetry, and then I can always get her complete poems or something like that afterwards if I do enjoy it. She was in the Pre-Raphaelite group. Her brother was Dante Gabriel Rossetti, so I would like to find out more about that too, because I quite like those movements. I like the Bloomsbury group and the Romantics, so I want to find out more about the Pre-Raphaelites and how the art and the poetry and everything else goes together. So I am looking forward to reading this. I don't think it will take me long. I'm trying to read as many classics as I can before the end of the year, because last year I read 22, so far I'm on 11, so I'd quite like to get to 22 if I can by the end of the year. Not sure if that's going to happen. I've got to get a move on with that, but I'm trying to read as much as I can. And then the other poetry collection that I want to read is one by John Keats. This is Faber Poetry's edition with poems selected by Andrew Motion, and I wanted to read this because I know about his poem To Autumn, so I thought it would be a good time to read it in autumn. I haven't read anything by John Keats before, so I'm interested to find out if I like his style. I'm quite particular with poetry, and also I have to read it through twice before I fully know if I like it or not, so it can be quite a long process, but I want to give this a go. And then the non-fiction book I want to read in September is The Living Mountain by Nan Shepherd. I don't know if you can see this because there is this amazing gold foil on the cover, so it shines, and this is one published by Canongate. So Nan Shepherd was born in 1893 and she died in 1981, and she wrote this during the 30s, all about the Cairngorm Mountains, but it wasn't published until around the 60s, and it's not until recently that she has got the recognition she deserves. I think she's on the Scottish banknote, and I'm looking forward to reading her writing. I love nature writing. It's something that I'm really interested in writing myself. I think I might write a piece of nature writing for my creative writing coursework next year, or this year I suppose now, so that will be exciting, because last year I did some kind of more YA fantasy and contemporary and then some non-fiction, but I'd quite like to write some nature writing non-fiction this year because I love it. I've got so many different pieces on my phone that I've been writing when I've been out and about. I love it. I would love to publish a full book of nature writing one day. I think that is my ultimate goal as a writer, to write a full piece of nature writing, but I don't feel right now that I've got enough experience, or I don't think I've got enough breadth to write about what I want to write about, so I'm trying to just read as much as I can at the moment and find out the different styles. It's not a long book at all, but it's the one I'm most excited to read. I love the style, and I love how when you read a nature book it connects you to the nature around you, even if that's not exactly like the landscape that's talked about in the book. And then the last book that I hope to read in September is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This is a book that I've never read, but it is a children's classic. But I didn't read a lot of children's classics classics when I was younger, I tended to just go from the middle grade straight up to YA, and I never really had that classic-y bit that some kids do. I actually don't know a lot about Anne of Green Gables, except that it has been made into an adaptation now called Anne with an E, and I've seen lots of GIF sets on Tumblr, but that's all I know about it, those snippets that I've seen from them. It's just not a book that I'd really heard about, but I would love this cover. I'm looking forward to reading some more children's classics because I don't think I've read enough. I'd like to read this, I'd like to read Little Women, which people have been telling me to read for years. I'd like to read Heidi too, because Heidi I had kind of a picture book of when I was younger, and I'd like to read some more fairy tales too. I know Jen Campbell has an amazing fairy tale series on her channel, but I definitely don't read enough of that type of thing, so it's something that I would like to do in the next year or two. But Anne of Green Gables is going to be one of the first children's books that I read. I love these vintage classics editions. They are ones specific for children, so they've got a really nice font size and activities in the back. So here are a list of all the characters and a quiz: which inhabitant of Avonlea do you most resemble? So I think that's going to be a really exciting reading experience. Oh, there's a list of activities to do. Delightful doings for you and your bosom friends. So those are the books I'm hoping to read in September. If I read these four, I'd quite like to read some Thomas Hardy if I can. I really want to read The Woodlanders, which is next on my list. Either that, or I would quite like to read A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. Two quite different books, but I feel like it would be a good one to read in autumn. I've gone for the books that feel like autumn to me or have covers like autumn, because I feel like this is a nice autumnal cover. Even though it's quite green, I think it's good. I just like that feel in autumn, and it's my favourite time of the year. I love it when you can snuggle down at night and the nights get cooler, and I'm never ever excited about going back to school, but this year I'm super excited to start college again. I've missed it so much. I've missed the learning of it, and I've missed English literature, and I had my exam results as well, which I was so pleased about because I thought I'd failed them all for some reason. I was getting nightmares about it at night, thinking I was not going to get the grades I wanted, but I did. I was so pleased with my results. So I'm going into the next year with a good stepping stone, I think, to get good results at the end of next year if I keep the work up. So it has all been going on. It's been a very busy summer. So I'm looking forward to getting back into that routine of going to college every day and being able to read and learn and just start up on my courses, and then I'll be starting thinking about applying to university, which is coming up in the next year. Such a scary time thinking about moving out and where I want to go. It's all happening, but I think it's really exciting, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of the next year because I've got a lot on, I've got a lot to balance, but I'm excited for it for once. Like, I've never ever been excited for school, but I love college. It's completely changed my life. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to all the books on my TBR. I think it's going to be great. I hope you all have a lovely September and hope you enjoy the videos coming up. Don't forget to look at the survey in the description and fill that out so that I know what you want, as I mentioned at the start. So I hope you enjoyed this chilled, relaxed video, and I will see you guys soon. Happy reading!